Okay, hey Steve, I read your text, and I guess that I guess this is recording. I hope so, but yeah, it is. So very interesting. I'm trying to grab this in video before I take a morning siesta, which I'm feeling like doing, which I don't always do, but since given where I'm living, it seems a reasonably contextually appropriate thing to do. But this concept of transclusion, very exciting. Very excited to cooperate with you on that. And what an insight! Reading that article or the link you sent to me, and then their mention of Ted Nelson and his concept of transclusion, and this leads to a sort of my current then understanding of what transclusion really is. And I'd like to just jump right in here and make an analogy to, I believe it is very similar to the defining of the significance or the role of a particular node, or even a particular a particular part of a structural network in dynamic stress situations. Because if you look at a dome structure, a geodesic dome structure, other dome structures, and if you look into that book that they mentioned in the link about a pattern language and buildings, I'm very, very interested in reading that book, have not, but I think the concept is that each node, let's just use the term node for now, in any type of network, plays a role, if a varying role. So its significance varies as a function of the dynamics of the context in which that particular structure or network exists. So just take the example of wind load on a geodesic dome. Wind load is a constantly changing situation, given the constant variability of wind. Now, if you had wind coming from a constant direction, no gusts, no non-laminar flow, everything laminar flow, etc., you could assume that it was a constant, but it's not, because you have non-laminar flow, you have gusts of wind, you have the wind velocity varying, you have the atmospheric density varying with the atmospheric pressure, with the humidity, etc. So if you take even what we think of as a very simple engineering problem of resolving the dynamic stresses on a structure coming from the wind load, actually each node in that structure, each connection's significance is changing with the situation. That is transclusion. The node has not moved. The node's significance, fundamental significance, is to assist the structure in what would be absorbing and in dealing with specific stresses. But that is done in cooperation with all the other elements of the structure, if the structure is well conceived, especially if it is a tensegrity structure, which they have always fascinated me. I've never worked with them enough, but a geodesic dome I have worked with. The zone concept, as you know, and you and I are both somewhat familiar with that. But anyhow, transclusion. The idea, I think, that your Notion article was expressing, at least the way it came across to me, is that with proper transclusion, the definition of a particular term, or the discussion going on around that particular term or particular subject can constantly be varied and changed and enriched, modified by its interaction in the whole network within which it is found. And so that really excites me, and experimenting with that and something with you is exciting. As you know, I'm no master of Notion, the system, and hope that you can play the primary role in that. But I have made a little picture here. Let me switch around to looking at that picture if I can. Let's see if it's going to let me switch. I don't think it is, or maybe it will. Okay, let's see if it's, well, anyhow, I can't see this, can't. There we go. There's my hand in the way. Well, anyhow, I'll send you a picture of it, but I made sort of a picture of a mind map, sort of transclusion, linked to significance, linked to a node in a network or a lattice, and pattern recognition, and of course the William Gibson book by the same title and stuff he touched on there. And then more recently, in terms of pattern recognition and the way it influences the brain and the generation of various feel-good chemicals, as presented in the Art of Impossible book that I'm just reading right now, or listening to right now. Looking forward, as I mentioned earlier, to reading that book, A Pattern Language, about architecture. And then just a note here, the dynamic resolution of forces in a structure via nodes or struts. So that is my comment for right now. And